Welcome, everyone. This is Amy Engelmark of Amy Engelmark Coaching, and I'm also the host of this webinar you've joined right now. It's called Breakthrough to Your Fun and Fabulous Life. If I'm talking kind of funny today, it's because I have a little canker sore that I'm getting rid of, and I just wanted to let you know about that before we move forward, in case you have heard me before on these live webinars and you're like, why is she talking funny? That's why. So you are in the right place. I am so pumped to be with you today. Every Wednesday, I'm always so excited to offer you this training. And I'm very excited because I know that it helps change people's lives and business lives. If you're joining us live today, I invite you to put your name and where you're from in the chat box so that we can get to know one another. And throughout this training, I totally welcome you to ask any question, because no question is a stupid question. All questions are great questions to ask. You can ask me the same question 10 times. It doesn't matter. I want to make sure that you get your questions answered on these live training classes. Before I start the training, I want to share my story with you. And I want to share with you what these webinars are all about. So my story starts when I was feeling like I was probably pretty insecure, and I was quite young in my marriage, and I didn't know what it meant to really be myself in a relationship. And so I was trying to make everyone happy. I was trying to not rock the boat. And what that ended up doing in my life is it meant that I felt like I lost part of my identity because I wasn't communicating my needs. I wasn't expressing myself in the ways that I usually do, in these exuberant ways that kind of weirded some people out. Like I am used to shouting joyfully on hiking trips, or hooting and hollering out of the middle of nowhere just because I'm happy. And that can really weird some people out when you express yourself in very authentic and unique ways, right? So what I ended up doing is I ended up bottling myself up and probably putting my own unique, beautiful, authentic self into a cage. And it was my own doing, because I was trying to make sure that everyone around me liked me and accepted me and thought I was awesome in every single way. It actually does the opposite. You can never make anyone truly like you all the time. And if that is your aim, then you end up being unhappy inside and unsatisfied, because you're not free at all. You put yourself in this cage where you stop communicating what you feel is important. You live life to please other people, and you just get on this treadmill of saying yes and overcommitting, or maybe not confidently standing up for yourself. Both sides of the equation have to do with people pleasing. And I really got caught in that trap and didn't know how to get out of it until I learned some skills and tools through my coaching practice, and I put them to use in my own life. And my goodness, I am a different woman from that time in my life. I'm myself again. I am confident, and I am not worrying about what other people will think about me, worrying about how they might judge me. I'm sure some of you totally can liken and feel with my story. You can understand where I'm coming from, right? So the same tools and strategies that I've used in my personal life have worked in my clients' lives as well, and helped them break through from their own personal cages to more freedom and more ability to confidently communicate their needs and feelings in the workplace and in their, and that's translated into great personal relationships with great depth, beautiful, flourishing business relationships that result in higher productivity and more cohesive teams. So you get my drift? You want to be able to live a life where you're making decisions that make you happy, and decisions that aren't always geared towards making sure people like you, because you can't control that. That's not in your control. And you don't want to base your value on whether others like you or not. So that's a little bit about where I'm coming from on today's topic. We're going to cover in today's webinar, it's a simple guide to being yourself instead of people pleasing. If you're just joining us live, I invite you to put your name and where you're from. I see some of you hopping on here now in the chat room so that you can answer questions. For those of you who are watching the replay, I am going to put a link right now to the first 2 chapters of my upcoming book. It's called From Burnt Out to Bliss, and it is action steps in those first 2 chapters are going to really help you who are overachievers start reclaiming your free time and start feeling energetic again. So you're going to be able to get your health back, you're going to be able to feel well rested, and that happens when you put these steps into place. So here are the first 2 chapters of my upcoming book. It's called From Burnt Out to Bliss, and it's a 30-day challenge for high achievers to make more time for fun and rest. So I've just put the link there, and for those of you who stay till the end live with me, I've got a treat for you. I'm going to send you a copy of the book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways. It's really been a key element that's helped my clients overcome some big fears that are holding them back from achieving their big goals in 2016. So that's my pleasure to give to those of you who stay to the end live with me. For one person, I'm going to ask you a question. If you get it right, you're the first person to get it right, then I'm going to send you a copy and it'll arrive at your door. Now let's hop into the training portion of today's call. A simple guide to be more yourself, be more authentic, have more freedom to express yourself instead of always people pleasing. That is our topic for today's webinar in the Breakthrough to Your Fun and Fabulous Life webinar series. Before that, before I actually hop in, I forgot, I wanted to share with you, for those of you who haven't been on these webinars, what I promise you're going to get out of these webinars is stress management strategies and tools to help you calm yourself down no matter how stressful or anxious a situation you are in. These tools are proven to help you get through without becoming a nervous wreck or having a breakdown. For those of you who are close to feeling burnt out or worn out, you're going to learn strategies to deal with those situations that just zap you of energy. I talk about strategies to implement healthy boundary setting skills so that you can say no more and stop overcommitting to things that aren't your highest priorities. We talk about how to regain your free time so that those of you, even with the busiest schedules, can start making more time for yourself again. To have fun, be happy, feel rested. Even if you're a CEO, you're a community leader, you're a business leader, you're an entrepreneur, maybe you're a real high achiever, and you've got a lot of things that you're juggling right now between personal responsibilities, family, work, personal time. I guarantee that these webinars are going to help you regain your free time, deal with stress so much better, and kickstart your health again to a place that maybe you've never even experienced that good of health, you know? That's how these webinars are going to help you. The strategies and the systems that I share in these webinars, I apply to my personal life. So I'm walking the talk. Every single day, I have to apply something that I teach to my own life. Otherwise, I would not be a woman of integrity. I would not be walking in the steps that I suggest my clients and you who are watching implement in your lives. So they're tried and true, and they're proven in my life and my clients' lives. You can read about them, the results that my clients have gotten, in the testimonial section. Now let's hop into the live training. I have some notes here that I'm going to follow, and I have so much that I want to fit into this time with you. We probably won't go until 12 o'clock today, so we won't use our full hour. We'll probably use about 45 minutes. So we've got about half an hour of training here to cover. Let's hop in and stop people pleasing. Get off the treadmill of saying yes. Get off the treadmill of walking on eggshells. Who wants to stop walking on eggshells and start prioritizing what's important to you instead of always prioritizing what's important to other people? Let's get started. So people pleasing is all about holding back from communicating what you need to say at work or in your personal life. It's all about overcommitting to things that don't really matter to you, that you feel obligated to say yes to. Usually people pleasers are yearning for outside validation. They want other people to like them so much that they're willing to commit to things, or they're willing to hold back from communicating what really needs to be said just so other people will like them. People pleasers fear that they will lose the respect of other people if they don't go along with the flow that somebody else is comfortable with. They fear that they're going to be cut off from relationships, whether they're business relationships, friends, family relationships. And worst case scenario, maybe you won't have any friends. Maybe your business life will be so impacted because people start disrespecting you, or you lose their trust or something like that, that maybe your role in your profession becomes compromised. Fear takes you through this nasty route where it tells you lies, and it gets you to believe the lies until you think it's the truth. And you start acting on those lies and believing those fears that, oh, if I step out and I say no, and I stand up for my own time, I value my own priorities, or maybe it's the opposite. You're holding back, and fear is telling you, if you step forward and you confidently talk about what needs to be talked about, you better watch it. Your relationships are going to suffer. Your business is going to suffer. Well, if you believe that, you're going to hold back forever, and you won't be doing your job. Or you're going to hold back you're not going to have the time that you want to spend doing the things that make you feel alive and happy and energized, because you're committing to too many people and too many activities that you're not truly invested in. So we're going to crush these fears today. I'm going to help you overcome these obstacles so that you can run this race in your life and have more freedom while you run the race. Okay. So we've talked about the fears and the lies that people believe when they're people pleasing. Some of these fears and lies I believed a long time ago, and I'm so thankful that I don't feel like I'm battling in this situation anymore, but I want to help those of you who do feel like you're right in the middle of the battle. You're at war. We're going to cover, let's see, I have 8 points to cover with you today, so that you can say no more, communicate what needs to be said more, and stop people pleasing. So get your pen and paper out. We're going to start. I'm going to give you my guide and break it down into 8 points so that you can stop people pleasing, have more freedom and more success in your business life as well. The first point is to remember that you have a choice. So often people feel like they have to say yes, that they have no choice in the matter. And that's a total lie. You always have a choice. You can choose to say yes, or you can choose to say no. You don't have to walk on eggshells around people all the time. You always have a choice. So don't believe the lie that you have to respond to people and agree to commitments for some strange reason. You never have to. Some people are natural flatterers or manipulators, and they will make you feel like you have no choice. And they'll sweet talk you into commitments that you would rather not take on because your life is already quite busy, I'm sure. Sure, you already have a very busy schedule, so you need to be the kind of like the gatekeeper of your heart, your mind, and your time. No one else is going to do it for you. Let's move on to step 2. Step 2 is knowing your priorities. If you don't know what's really important to you, then it's really hard to make a decision in the moment. I was working with a client of mine just the other day who was talking about feeling afraid that if he talked to some of his team members about what they needed to work on and changes that needed to be made in their careers for improvement's sake, that they wouldn't like him. So he was holding back from having really important developmental conversations with some of his teammates, his team members. He's a leader of this specific team. He was holding back due to that fear. He thought that people wouldn't like him as much. He thought he would be disrespected by them, that he would lose trust in their eyes, and they wouldn't follow him as their leader. They wouldn't look up to him if he was authentic. And what's interesting is with some of his business relationships, he has been authentic. He has communicated what these people need to work on. And they connect with him more because he's been more authentic. He feels like they respect him more, and they act on the suggestions that he gives them in the meetings that they've had. So it's already proven that his fears aren't true. And now he just needs to break out of his comfort zone a little bit more and talk to the people that maybe make him feel more uncomfortable or that ignite that fear factor inside of him, and be more authentic with those people so that he's not feeling like he's walking on eggshells all the time. So that he feels like he's actually doing his job instead of always trying to make people like him. What's more important? Those are your priorities. You need to ask yourself, is it more important that I do my job or more important that everyone likes me all the time? Because you can't really control that. You can't make people like you all the time. There's always going to be someone who doesn't like you for whatever reason. It's just life. Not everyone's going to like me. That's okay. What is important to you? You have to ask yourself, what is important to me? What's the most thing that's important to me right now? So when somebody's asking you to help them or commit to something, in the moment you need to ask yourself, what's the most important thing to me right now? Do I have the time for this? Am I going to feel pressured or stressed out if I commit to this? Will I blame this person and be upset with this person later because I commit to this? Because that can become a common reoccurrence. We can blame or resent the person who asked us after we say yes and commit to what they've asked us to do. That's a funny thing. That's about not taking responsibility for your decisions. So if that's you, that might be an area you need to work on. So what are my priorities? Number 3 is stall. It's okay to take the time to think about your decision before you give an answer to someone. You can stall and say, hey, I just need a few minutes or the afternoon to think about this, and then I'll get back to you with my answer. It's really important to get all the details about what you're committing to as well before saying yes. So ask for more details. When I stall, I get more clarity on why I want to commit to something, and even if it's in alignment with my values and what's most important to me and how I spend my time. So this is a great tactic so that you're not people pleasing. You're getting off that people pleasing treadmill and you're getting into a place of honoring your own priorities. So take the opportunity and stall. Don't answer right away. Number 4. Number 4 is to create a mantra. This is really important for me. I'm a very visual learner. So for those of you who are visual learners, even for those of you who aren't, this tactic really helps you be yourself more, be more courageous, and more confident. In order for you to say no to people who are asking you to commit to them or activities, when it's truly not in alignment with your priorities and how you want to spend your time, it will feel uncomfortable at first to say no, but you need to embrace that discomfort until it becomes more comfortable. Habits need to be broken, and part of that breaking process is embracing the discomfort of change. So welcome it. You're not going to feel like doing it because it's not natural, but it will become natural. So your mantra could just simply be seeing the big words no, N-O, when somebody is walking up to you, somebody who typically would ask you to commit to things. Maybe it's your children, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your boss, maybe it's a coworker, a colleague, I don't know. But visualizing big, bright words, maybe in red, N-O, no, will remind you that it's okay to say no, and it will help you practice standing up for what you want to spend your time on, what's important to you. Something I've done with my clients as well is to help them visualize themselves putting on this like courageous cap when they're going to speak with someone and they feel like it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. Instead of aiming towards being liked all the time, you can aim towards being courageous, standing up for what's important to you, prioritizing what's important versus being liked all the time. You can put on a courageous cap. You can see the words no, big N-O in red. You can also visualize putting on a really nice pair, like the fanciest pair of shoes you can imagine, or maybe a heavy-duty pair of work shoes, and walking over those eggshells so that you're not feeling uncomfortable. You're feeling more confident and well-founded, like you're standing on a strong foundation and crushing those eggshells instead of tiptoeing around people. When you see those people that you feel like you're always tiptoeing around, visualize yourself wearing those shoes. Put them on as soon as you know you're going to go into a workplace or a social space where you need to wear those shoes. Visualize those shoes on your feet as you walk into those places. It really changes how you feel in those personal and work places. Number 5 is to be assertive and respectful. That same client I was telling you about, he was feeling like he was struggling between either being too forceful or not forceful enough. Too assertive, maybe even to the point of being rude, or being like a little lamb and not being assertive enough. So what do you do when you're in that situation? You don't have to, when you're being assertive and confident and standing up for yourself, saying what needs to be said, expressing your feelings, not worrying about if you're going to be judged by others, if you're going to lose relationships because you speak confidently about your feelings or what needs to be said. What needs to happen is you need to change how you're thinking about that confident speaking. You're not being rude or selfish when you communicate what you need or what needs to be said. You're being confident and you're actually being more respectful to other people because you're showing them that you value yourself enough to speak up. You care for the people that you're speaking with enough to bring up uncomfortable topics. And people will respect you more because of that. At first, some people might not like the changes that they see coming up in you if you've been a people pleaser for way too long. It will ruffle some people's feathers and they won't know how to relate to you because you've been way too easygoing for way too long. Way to make other people happy for way too long, you know? So you might get ready for a bit of that, but you might not find that that happens. Just a little bit of a forewarning. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world if some people's feathers get ruffled. And the worst case scenario hardly ever happens where you actually lose relationships with people or your business suffers because you're more authentic and you step into more freedom and confidence in your communication style. Even if the worst case scenario ever happened, you are way more able to deal with anything, handle anything that comes your way than you might imagine. And you need to believe that about yourself because you're competent. You're able to deal with whatever happens. That's an important belief that you need to rerun through your mind until you believe it. If you're just joining now and you have questions about what I'm talking about, people pleasing, how it relates to your life, I would love to hear those questions. I'm totally open to any question while I'm training, and I'm happy to answer it. So put your name and where you're from or your question in the chat box, and I'm happy to answer it. One way that you can be assertive and respectful is to put yourself in other people's shoes. So when you put yourself in other people's shoes, they feel like they're being heard and they feel like they're being understood. And that's super important when you're talking to people in a business environment or at your home or with friends. You want to feel heard and understood. So communicate to other people in a way they can feel understood as well and cared for. People will receive anything that you are going to say if they know that it's coming from the right place in your heart. So you could say it like, I understand where you're coming from. At this point, I can't commit to that. I understand that you're working really hard and I see these awesome attributes. I see these awesome character traits coming up in your work life. And I just want to say that you're doing such an awesome job. Can I suggest some areas that you could look at to improve? I know that when these areas improve, your business is just going to skyrocket. You know, have you ever heard of the crap sandwich? Where you tell someone something that you're really happy about in their business, or if you're a leader, or something in your children or your spouse or your friends that's good, and then something that really needs to be talked about, the hard stuff in the middle, and at the end something good again. You have to sandwich the hard to hear things in the middle of two really uplifting, empowering bits of feedback for those people. So you can be assertive and at the same time respectful and caring as you communicate, as you say no to people, as you get out what needs to be said in business meetings or in your marriage or personal relationships. Number 6, to stop people pleasing, to have more personal freedom and break out of your own cage, is to not apologize if it's not your fault. What I've seen very often is people who are feeling insecure, they start apologizing for things that are not even their fault. So before you say sorry and show up as, it seems to me like people show up as weak if they say sorry too often for things that are not their fault. So evaluate, is it really your fault, whatever you're apologizing for? Do you need to apologize because you have certain feelings? No, you don't need to apologize for having certain feelings. Any feeling is okay. So just reevaluate. Is it really my fault before I say those 2 words, I'm sorry? 2 more points to cover. Any questions that you have while I'm speaking, I welcome. So you can put them in the chat box to the right. I'm just going to take a sip of water. And I wonder if there are any points that I've covered that you would like me to talk more on. I've talked about being assertive, creating a mantra, like wearing a courageous cap or putting on some really heavy-duty work boots to walk over those eggshell situations with people. We've talked about stalling and not answering right away. We've talked about knowing your priorities and remembering that you have a choice. You don't have to commit to anything. You don't have to speak up about anything. You do have a choice, though. So you don't have to commit to things that are not your highest priorities. Anyone have any questions about that? I welcome them. I'm just going to have a sip of water here before we keep going. If you're wondering, it's actually not water. This is called Ionix. It helps me with my energy levels, and it also is really good to decrease stress. So, and it tastes good. I love it. So we have 2 more points to cover. Number 7 is to start becoming a more courageous person in this area and facing your fears. Start small. Maybe someone has an annoying dog. It's just a very small example. A neighbor, and it keeps barking and it's just gotten on your nerves and you need to do something about it. Maybe the first step is to just go say hi to your neighbor one day when you see them out on the road. Hey! And a couple days later, you go out and you say, hey, it's been pretty loud here around the neighborhood, hey? They might get the point just like that, and you don't have to be as direct about your feelings as you would like to be, ideally, in your ideal situation. But maybe they don't get the point, and maybe later, once you've built up your confidence, in another week, you can actually talk about what needs to be talked about. So you see, you don't have to approach people directly and bluntly right away. You might never need to approach them bluntly. Maybe you do, but you can build up that confidence and that courage to communicate freely when you haven't been in the habit of communicating freely for a long time because you've been stuck on that treadmill of people pleasing. That is a way to do it. It's just doing it from step A to step Z slowly so that you get to a point where your confidence is high from many opportunities, many small victories. Our last point is to speak up more, be yourself, because it has benefits. So what are some of the benefits that you already know you will experience when you speak up more? When you're more yourself instead of aiming to please other people? When you're more yourself instead of worrying about what will happen if you really show people who you are or you really show people how you feel. Why don't you share with me what some of the benefits are for you? You can type it in the chat box. I'd love to hear. Some of the benefits for me are I feel alive. I feel like when I'm myself, even if people don't agree with my opinions or my feelings, I feel refreshed from expressing them. I feel energized because I'm not holding back and trying to hide. I feel like I can pursue my full purpose in life when I'm not wasting time and mental and physical energy worrying about how people will respond to who I really am, the full person that I really am. When I was covering up my joy and covering up part of my character so that it would make other people happy, I got pretty depressed and it felt crappy. And other people started noticing that I was hiding who I used to be. And I didn't like that. It was right in my face that I was not being who I truly am. When I let my whole light shine, and when you let your whole light shine, it ignites other people's lights to shine. Your businesses just light on fire. People are more attracted to you when you're fully yourself. People will respect you more, even if they don't fully agree with your viewpoint. They like that you have opinions. It's attractive. They like that you have feelings about things, even if they're different than their feelings. So what do you think are the benefits of stopping people pleasing and being more your authentic self? Share with me in the chat box. I'd love to hear them. While you share, I want to ask you a few questions. I want to ask you, what is it costing you to continue prioritizing keeping everybody happy all the time instead of being yourself? Because there is a cost too. There's mega benefits, but there's a cost. I already talked about the cost that I experienced, but the cost that some of you may have experienced is probably one of the areas is in your careers. Your clients are more attracted to working with somebody who is fully happy, energized, on fire, confident. That's attractive. And when you are always trying to make other people happy, it's kind of, some people can pick up on that. And they're, why is this person always, like, why are they taking so much? Why are they giving so much? What's behind this? And they can read into it and they're not sure what's going on, but it feels kind of flaky sometimes. Have you ever noticed that? And I say that with so much love, because I've been there. I've been a people pleaser, right? As I shared with you in my story. What's it costing your family? What's it costing you in your health to always give away your time or not communicate what needs to be communicated? You won't have as much time, I'm guessing, for the things that matter the most to you if you're always committing to other things. That's my guess. Your health will probably suffer because you're not able to prioritize yourself and your needs and your values and your priorities because you're giving it away to other people. You know what's exciting though is you have a choice. You can always learn how to improve, how to break free of the cage that you've built yourself and experience more freedom so you can become more authentic. You can rise up and become an even greater leader in your personal life, as a parent, as a spouse, as a business leader, maybe a community leader, an entrepreneur. You have what it takes, and you can learn and get those tools and put them in your tool belt so that you can be more confident and you can communicate more effectively. It's exciting to think about what's possible just with one decision. You have a choice. My invitation for you today is to decide, am I going to do something about it, or am I going to keep waiting for the perfect timing? Because if you keep waiting for the perfect timing, what's going to happen is nothing. Nothing will happen. And that's not exciting. I know that you're on this webinar because you want to see different results. And I would say it's high time that you took action. You're either one of two groups. You're somebody who waits for the perfect timing, and change takes a long time when you wait for the perfect timing, because there is no such thing. There's a Chinese proverb that I love quoting. It says, 20 years ago was the best time to plant a tree. The next best time is now. You always have a second chance. You always have an opportunity. The second group of people are the people who are ready. They know that when something has struck their heart, that it's time to run. It's time to commit. It's time to prioritize yourself. Those people are big action takers. You got to decide which group of people you're in, right? What I do is I help people in this area of people pleasing. I help people increase their confidence and put that courageous cap on, put those worker boots on, and smash the eggshells that you've been walking around on in certain business or personal situations, so that you can communicate and become a better leader, become more respected, become more trusted, develop better relationships in your business community and at home. It's exciting to think of that. I have so many clients who have overcome this fear. It's exciting. It's exciting to see the results. You can see more of results that people have posted on my testimonials page at amyengelmark.com. And it's my pleasure. I want to offer 5 of you an opportunity to have a 1-hour free, it's completely free, session with me where I go through your life, whether it's your business life, personal life, maybe both, with a fine-tooth comb, and we find out what's holding you back from being able to make decisions with confidence and not worry or be anxious or stress out about what people might be thinking of you if you make decisions that make you happy for once. I help you change this habit so that you can be more productive, your business can skyrocket, so that you can make more money in your business, so that you can have more free time to spend having fun and playing with your kids and doing something wonderful for yourself, so that your health can really improve to the point you want it to be at. That's that 1-hour session that I work with you on details to help you create the action plan for you to start taking action on. So I'll show you what top 3 steps you need to start taking right now to start seeing new results. And there's no obligation. It's either going to be, this is what the 2 options I would say you're going to feel about this time spent with me. It's going to be the best 1 hour you've spent on your personal life and business this year. And you're going to say, thanks, Amy, I really appreciate it. We'll talk to you later. That's awesome. That's fine. No obligation. The other option is you're like, holy cramoly, I totally click with you, Amy. I'm so thankful for our time together. How can we work together? And then if I feel like we're a good fit for one another, I'll offer an invitation for you to apply to be one of my clients. So I have only space for 5 people, and I want to warn you that there is a time factor with these 5 sessions. I have space in the next 2 weeks in my coaching calendar that I've opened up for these coaching sessions. And I'm a busy mom, I'm a busy coach, and my speaking calendar is really filling up. So these spaces go fast, and I would encourage you to take action if you know that this is for you and the timing is really good. I'm going to put a link here. It's to apply for one of those sessions. It's amyengelmark.com/breakthrough. Okay, so let me know if you can see. I want to make sure that those of you who are on live can see that link, amyengelmark.com/breakthrough. So you can just say, I can see it, or just let me know in the chat room if you can see those links there, so I can make sure that you can have access to them. And let me know, what's one of your takeaways from this webinar training today? What did you enjoy most? What are you thankful that you learned? What bit of wisdom are you taking away? What gold nugget are you taking away from today's training about learning how to be more yourself instead of people pleasing all the time? So let me know your feedback. I'm going to have a sip of my energy drink and wait for your responses. Looking for reading them. I don't know if you can see the sun streaming into my, it's kind of like an offshoot of my kitchen area here, but it's glorious outside. After this, I'm really looking forward to spending some time outside, closing my eyes and just being thankful for these webinars that I get to share with you and the training. It's just a fabulous opportunity to share with you tools that really work, that I know will really help you in your lives. So I'm always thankful for those of you who join me live, and I love to hear your feedback. So I was just asking for those of you who want to share some gold nugget that you're taking away from the training today. I would love to hear it in the chat room. While you're sharing your gold nuggets with me, I told you at the beginning of the call that whoever stays on live with me to the end of the call, I'm going to send you a copy of the book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways. It's an awesome book full of tools that will really help you bust through fears and conquer those areas of your life that are really causing you stress. Really has helped me in my personal life, and it's really helped so many of my clients overcome their fears so that they can accomplish really big goals in 2016. So let me see what question I will ask you. I am planning, for those of you who follow me on Facebook and you watch my videos that I post there, you will know this about my life. I've just posted a video in the last few days about this. Where am I? What's one of my big goals that I am totally on track to hitting for 2016? I'm leaving to go somewhere in December. Where am I going to take my family on vacation to? For those of you who are still on live, this is your opportunity to win the book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways. So the first person who answers that question correctly will get a free book to your doorstep and a card from me. So who will answer it first? Don't miss out on this opportunity. It's really fun. And if no one answers, I'll give you guys another, say, 30 seconds, because I know there's a lag on the webinars. Sometimes you don't see me saying something live. You get about a 15-second lag. But I'll give you another about 30 seconds, and then we will wrap up the training class for today. What are your plans for the rest of the day? What's the weather like? Where are you living? I'm on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. I know some people join me from England here. Some people join me from San Diego in the United States. Some people are joining from Alberta and Edmonton in Canada. Where are you from? What's it like where you are? Are you already in really cold fall weather? Some of you might even have snow. My goodness, that'd be early for snow. It's getting darker here in the mornings. I'm feeling like I can't even go on bicycle rides without a headlamp. That's what I usually do around 6 in the mornings. Anyways, looks like nobody is feeling super courageous to put their takeaway, their gold nugget that they're taking away, but I know you guys have gold nuggets, so I'm really thankful that you're taking something away from this call. And do click on those 2 free chapters of my ebook, From Burnt Out to Bliss. They're really going to help you create more time for fun and rest as a busy professional. Lots and lots of love to you, and have a fabulous Wednesday. I'll see you next week for the live training. Take care.